was.
All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let's call this puppy to order. There is a flag in the corner here. We're going to pledge allegiance to it. If you have a flag at your house, feel free to pledge allegiance to that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands.
What's an email?
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Maggie Young, who is our local history/genealogy librarian, has agreed to present us with a presentation. Thank you, Maggie. Take it away, please.
Thank you, Rachel. Hi, everybody. I just need.
Hello.
Hi. All right. Hi, my name is Maggie Young. I'm the genealogy librarian here at the Chemung County Library District. And hello to all the familiar faces and hello to all the new faces. And thank you to the board and to Ron for asking me to share for a few minutes. I just have a few slides that I've prepared that I hope illustrate how the genealogy and local history has pivoted to stay alive in the post-COVID era. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick. Let's see, view, slideshow. Can everybody see it?
Yep, thank you.
All right, so I just wanted to start with looking ahead. You know, it's sad that we can't get together, but the silver lining of COVID is that I'm able to bring experts for genealogy and local history in from all over. So here's just the overview of the programming for genealogy and local history that I've planned for the first 6 months of the year. Let's see, we have the basics intro to genealogy that I usually do, but we've also added a new Genealogy Club, which meets every third Saturday. And we had one meeting so far and we had very good attendance. And I've also introduced a new program exploring online newspapers. And we've had very good attendance with that as well. February 1st, we have a local history program coming up presented by Mike Keene. And this year, I'm excited to have Adrian, and excuse my pronunciation, Abidon. I'm a little nervous, so, you know, new words. She's doing a lot of DNA for genealogy, which is an area I need to learn more in, and a lot of people are very interested in using their DNA results. So she's going to be doing 2 programs for us this year. And back by popular demand, we're having Ari Wilkins back. She's a genealogist in Texas, and she does African-American genealogy. Her intro to African-American genealogy, last year we had 98 people in attendance. So we're bringing that program back this year. So, and July 12th, we have another expert coming in to help us help people find their parents with DNA. So if you, for this and many other great library programs, I have the direct link to the event calendar, and I'll be glad to send out slides to everyone after this. Does anyone have any questions on the programs?
I got a question, Maggie.
Sure.
What's the price after it? Is that what you're paying the presenter?
Yeah, that's what we're paying each expert presenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not for the guests. So our presence this year, as people don't come into the physical library, we're giving the library out into the internet. So here are our social media and our internet presences. Facebook, I started an Instagram page, and that has been growing very nicely. A WordPress blog for longer articles, and our online databases. The Facebook posts, I do a daily post of last century's news today. And I also offer full text newspapers from our microfilm collection. Instagram is last century's news today. The WordPress blog is for longer articles. And the online databases, while we're no longer able to give ancestry to people at home, we this year are offering newspapers.com library edition and Fold 3 military records. So here are just some statistics. We have gotten a lot of our microfilm newspapers scanned digitally through the New York State Historic Newspapers site. So over here, you can see all the titles. Most of these are our titles, not all of them. But for example, Daily Advertiser, that came from the library. We have 31,000 pages on New York State Historic Newspapers. In the month of December, we had 997 unique views. So as you can see, the numbers, the people who are accessing our newspapers, we're getting quite a few unique views on this site. And this is just for the month of December. Did I go back? Okay. And I just wanted to show you a few of our measurements for our online presence. These are our Facebook page statistics through 2021. And once I got the idea for last century's news today, our numbers just skyrocketed. So I found the posts that I could do every day that would gain people's interest and also teach us something. And Instagram is down here. As you can see, the numbers have started growing exponentially. Yeah.
Question about last century's news today. Is that literal or is that figurative?
It can be both. If I can get exactly 100 years ago, I will. But sometimes I'll do it from, you know, a different year. It just depends on the news of that day.
Okay, just wondering. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Here are some posts that did very well. One longer post that I did and shared on social media was on the North Main Bridge. So we reached, for these posts, which I won't get into, we reached between 1,700 and 1,200 people. That's not all of our posts, but that's a lot that did very well. And that's for the year of 2021. So here are just our audience numbers. We have 534 Facebook page likes and Instagram followers 34. So 34 up from 0 is huge for organic reach. And this is our WordPress blog for the longer articles. I've had it for quite a while. With COVID, I've been able to devote a lot more time to research and writing. And you can see that that has really paid off in 2021 as far as reaching people and showcasing our history and also our resources. Here are some of the top performers for, you know, roughly 2021. Our biggest, most popular story was the Izzard's Tea Room and Brown Bread recipes, which I included recipes from our local cookbook collection. And then we had a steep drop off into a Claude Swingle murder article, the Elmira Liquor Gang, and timeline of local UFO sightings. And that's all I have. And let me stop sharing my screen. I just wanted to take you guys through how I've sort of changed things up for mutual reach.
She can't see.
Oh,
We have a question for you, Maggie.
Okay.
Hi Maggie, I want to know how far do the military records go back? To the Civil War?
Yeah, they do Civil and Revolutionary War, those records. I'm not sure exactly how far all the records go back, but there'll definitely be Civil and Revolutionary War records on there.
how far forward do the records come? Like, can I get the military record of like my grandfather? Or would it be that they don't do anyone who might still be living?
You know,
I-
that's a good
I can answer that, Maggie.
Okay,
I found a picture of my brother from 1969,
Okay, so,
so it's reasonably recent, I think.
okay,
I want to make another comment too. On the Facebook post, there was a article about, no, there wasn't, there was an advertisement for ID Booth. And so I forwarded it to somebody I know at ID Booth, and they had no idea that it came from the library or the whole thing, and they were just all excited about seeing an advertisement from 1921. And so it brought the whole library to them, you know, they made a big deal about it. And so I think, you know, you never know when we're gonna get people, how we're gonna catch people to things that might interest them. So I think that's a real good idea that you're putting those newspapers on.
thank you, Phyllis. Yeah, and I like, you know, putting diverse subjects in there to capture everyone's imagination. And one of our other picks did go viral of people searching the river for a drowning victim in the 1800s. And so after, and it went viral and no one knew where the photo had originated from. So I've started putting the CCLD logo on the images.
Yeah, call, good idea.
So that's all I got, but you know, please feel free to check out our resources. And I just really want to thank everyone again today for having me. And I will send the slides to Ron if anybody wants them, okay?
all right, thank you very much for coming and speaking.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks for having me.
Presentation.
All righty. If no one has any further questions or comments about Maggie, we're going to continue on with approval of the minutes from last time. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Did anyone have any questions or corrections about the minutes? Can I get someone to move the approval of the minutes?
I make motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Carl. Can I get a second? Phyllis has raised her hand. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, it passes. Thank you. Treasurer's report. Jack, take it away, please.
Okay, financial reports in, as always, we're doing very well. If you have no questions, I move it.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
I'm very poor on finances, but am I correct that we overspent 41,000? Basically?
No, we have a contingency fund at the bottom, and so we only spent 62,000 of that. Was there a particular item that, so anything that was over, then was, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the detail on the contingency fund. Oh, yeah, there's, well, I guess it is the cleaning supplies. There are other things that contributed there, so. What led you to think that we were over 41? No, I mean, we were never. Was there something in particular?
Well, I took the 3562 from 3521 and got 41,172 difference between our
What was budgeted, what we
what
actually,
we budgeted and what we actually spent.
Well, everything, oh, you know, there's always monies, like the grant monies, that's what this notes on the side represent. Like, so the, like the programming, for instance, is up significantly and it's up $15,000. But then those items are accounted for, like any of the grant funds that the librarians get in, that's not, we don't, those are not all of the budget just represents the taxpayer money, the CCLD tax money. So there's always monies being spent outside of that.
So we spent more than we budgeted, but we received more than we budgeted.
Exactly, in a nutshell, yes. So, no, I wouldn't say that we were over at all. So, I mean, some areas were higher than we anticipated, and some areas were lower than we anticipated. Like, for instance, we had no monies budgeted in 2021 for equipment, but all of that equipment was paid for with either grant money, new grant money coming in that Deb was pursuing, or old bullet aid that was still left from a few years ago. So I guess like that's a good example. Like the equipment is, that's a good example because there's nothing actually budgeted there. So, I hope that helps. I'm not sure.
That explains it.
So the library fees and fines was way less than we had originally budgeted, and I assume that's because we canceled a bunch of fines because plague.
Yes,
Correct.
Okay.
and that actually brings up of not going back to fines, because I think it would be a PR nightmare.
I know a lot of libraries have actually done reasonably well by canceling fines, that they don't actually lose a substantial amount of money doing so.
Yeah.
Is that something that we want to vote on tonight or discuss further in the new business and then vote on at a later date?
To vote on at a later date. You know,
I agree with that.
Okay.
I think we need to look at the research about what libraries have, how their experience.
there's libraries all over the country, Phyllis. New York Public, Queens. There's several, Corning Library. There's several other libraries in STLS that don't collect fines.
What do they do when people don't bring back books? That was always.
You still have the
Yeah, and they
collections.
break their kneecaps. What else do you do?
Well, we still have unique management, and we take them to collections if they don't bring it back.
I second Jack's motion.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. On to the bills.
Okay, under unpaid bills, you've got two emails. The one we're dealing with is the one is dated January 20th. And then for the general fund, it's 31,326.41. So if there's any questions on it? Hearing none, I move that be paid.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Excellent. And so there's also the Central Aid Fund. And that total is $7,789.84. Can I get someone to move that? Okay, thank you, Penny. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jessica. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to do with the retribution to the bills? Because we are here today, we don't need to vote to have Ron sign them. Yay. Is there any correspondence?
Just donations, but I'll get into that under my report.
Okay. I do not have anything of substance to report for my report. So, yeah. Ron.
Okay. First off, I'd like to ask for approval of the personnel actions. There were 3 of them. They're all contractual step increases.
I move that we carry out the personnel actions as distributed.
I second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, They are passed.
Thank you. We received several donations at the end of the year. We got $2,000 from Mr. Oscar Reiner in memory of his sister Emma Novotny. That's, she used to be a volunteer at West Elmira. We received a $1,000 donation from Donald and Elizabeth Reiter. Received $5,000 from the Hanson Family Foundation. Received $300 from Mr. John Horrigan in honor of his elderly parents. Received $150 from John and Susan Molman. And we received $2,000 from a Dr. K. Kamalakar Rao. So I would like to ask you to vote to accept all these donations.
Can I get a motion to approve those? Okay, Phyllis and Jessica, I saw your hand up, so I'm gonna count you in a second. All right,
Okay.
all in favor? Aye.
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 Do we know why these people, what happened to make these people think about giving us money so that we can continue it?
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Molman do it every year. I think John Horrigan gives us every year. Hanson Family Foundation gives us every year. Mr. and Mrs. Reiter give us every year. And the only two that were new were from Dr. Rao and from Mr. Reiner.
And I take it you write them back.
The letters have already gone out, so it's a good thing you approved it.
Would we ever not approve them? Like,
Well, that's what I figured, but I guess to get it on the record.
Be a really bad person.
It's really getting
Okay.
donations on the record, and maybe somebody else will think to do it, I guess.
Yeah, let's hope. I got to give you a little bit of an upbrief on our COVID situation. Currently, we have 3 people affected. 1 is tested positive, 1 tested negative, but they don't have their clearance paperwork yet. And 1 has been in contact with someone who has the symptoms, but has not been tested yet. So. Any questions on that?
Considering what's going on.
Yeah, but we've had several in the last few weeks. But as of right now, only having 3 being of concern, I think that's pretty good.
so how many would we have to have out in order to justify the closure of the library or a branch of the library even?
For example, the 1 case that is positive is at West Elmira.
Mhm.
If we had 3 of the 4 staff members, we'd have to close that branch. Here at Steele, it'd be a little bit different. We'd go down to our typical Saturday staffing, which is not much, but we could probably lose at least 10 people before we have to consider closing. But we would have to reduce hours.
That's fair. How many hours can we reduce before the state hits us with this is an issue?
We can go down to 55 hours. We're currently at, is it 63, 64? So we're good. Next thing I have is the New York State position on hours open. On January 1st, libraries must provide regularly scheduled open hours that meet minimum requirements. Our minimum requirement is 55 hours. These regularly scheduled hours must be for in-person services. Curbside and lobby services no longer count towards hours open. They understand that libraries might have to close temporarily due to operational issues like temporary staff shortages. As always, these temporary deviations do not have to be reported and will not count against regularly scheduled hours open. However, the expectation is that otherwise libraries will remain open and serving the public through in-person services. So we're covered on that.
Well, we're not going back to curbside.
No, I mean, we still do offer curbside on request, but we definitely won't be going back to curbside. Friends donations of materials, that has been suspended till February. We received 500 N95 masks from the county. They were gone within 2 days. As you may have heard, other libraries were receiving test kits. We were not contacted as a site for test kit distribution. The other 4 counties in STLS, the libraries were given test kits. January 13th, Lewis found a person sleeping in the library at 3:30 in the morning.
So when you just like missed the closing?
No,
A little more on purpose.
Oh, he broke in?
no, he did not break in. He actually maneuvered at closing time. We can see him on the security video. That he followed where Stewart was closing the building and he ducked underneath a table and remained there. But he must have gotten up during the night because he moved the chairs away. He got under the table and pulled the chairs in, so you really couldn't see. Sometime during the night, he pushed the chairs out and grabbed a couple cushions from children's area. Lewis came in at 3:30, found him, and he escorted him out the door. He's a regular customer. I happened to speak with him the next day. I was pleasantly surprised that when I asked him if he was the individual, he said, yes, it was me, and he apologized. He said he wouldn't do it again. But typically when dealing with a situation like this, the person will fight and say, no, it wasn't me, you were wrong. So I was very pleased that he was very gracious about it. I
I
have to
assume
admit.
this gentleman is homeless.
That is our assumption.
Okay, well, it was certainly cold enough the other night to justify that.
Yeah, but we don't really want it
Oh,
happening.
no, obviously. But I'm like,
Justified.
yeah, I mean, in terms of survival strategies, you know, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
The reference desk always had a list of places they could go. And maybe we should post that or something, do you think?
yeah, I'll ask Maggie to do it. Maggie is I call her our more social work oriented librarian.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, having that like up on the wall somewhere so people know that there are options and don't necessarily have to ask. They can just see it.
Do you know if the bus station locks at night or are they open all the time?
I thought they were closed.
I met a homeless gentleman who said that what he would do was go to the hospital and walk into the different waiting rooms and pretend that he was visiting someone or waiting to be seen.
That's a smart idea. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the Horseheads Pavilion. That's the only thing I had under buildings and grounds. The pavilion was completed. I've got a photo. I'll send it out so you can see it. We're interested in providing care kits. These would be feminine hygiene products for the ladies. And then a care kit for children who are with their parents while the parents are on the computers upstairs. The small stuffed animal, crayons and coloring book. I've gotten prices from the staff. We're going to try out with an initial $50 to $100 and we'll see how it goes from there.
Do you have any interest in having or having the stuffed animals made by people, or are you just gonna buy in bulk?
We buy them in bulk. Got them in bulk. And they're just small things. But again, we just thought it was a nice idea. And it's upstairs, so they won't go out like hotcakes like they would in children's. But again, it was a great idea by the adult services staff.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We're looking at supplying the N95 or KN95 masks to the staff due to the status of the Omicron. It would be a higher cost than the masks we currently use. However, these masks can be used for up to 5 days according to the CDC.
Mark.
And then finally, the remote meetings policy was extended by the governor. STLS will let us know when it expires. So in the future, we can continue to do Zoom meetings only.
Okay. Then if anyone has trouble getting onto Zoom or needs alternate arrangements, then if they can contact me, we can see about arranging that. I'm glad we found a solution for Muriel already, so yay. Thank you, Ron. Is there anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So the executive committee. Has everyone had a chance to see the minutes from the executive committee? Does anyone have any questions about the minutes from the executive committee? Okay. Cool. We don't need to vote on those, do we? I honestly can't remember. Okay. Has everyone seen the minutes for the budget and finance committee? This was a very short meeting, as always. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. And there was no buildings and grounds, nor personnel, anything for elections and continuity? No, okay, so sort of for elections and continuity. We're gonna need to do annual board training, including our sexual harassment training. Is that something that you can help arrange?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Because we will need to be doing that. All right. Well, we've just been signing cards. We also, some of us who were here a little earlier signed our cards, but we can certainly do that now. Got the extra cards. And Jack will be notarizing this tomorrow at his leisure. Thank you, Jack.
I'll get it done tomorrow.
What?
I'll get it done tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. All right,
Well, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
because there was some weird-
Yep, and I think your terms will expire in 24, so the all 22, all 23, and all 24.
all right. Is there any, there's no reason to enter executive session. Is there any old business that anyone would like to bring up?
I just have a question. Again, I totally off. The good news about the circulation statistic is we were better this year than last year. But my question was, the wireless is less? I don't know what that meant.
The reason the wireless is less is until we put in new equipment, it would count somebody as connecting if they passed and hooked onto our signal on the Clemens Center.
Oh, so if they're like their cell phone picked it up.
If their cell phone picked it up, it would count as a hit.
Oh,
So that has changed.
oh, that explains that. But I'm not sure even that I'm right, but did it look like ebooks were less this year than last year?
I don't have it in front of me, Phyllis, I'm sorry, but I think that's entirely possible.
Or I suppose if they could come in and get like the actual book.
Oh,
It's kind of small, right?
Okay.
It is
I think
small.
she'll be fine.
But different strokes.
Well, I do too, but a lot of people didn't have much choice.
Yeah, ebooks were down about 2,000.
I wonder why. Did anybody have any idea why?
No, you know what? I'll have to ask STLS and see if they have any thoughts about it. And I'll talk to Pauline from Corning and see if hers went down as well.
It just seemed weird to me, that's all.
Yeah.
I would think because people weren't as available to go in and roam in a library, that they would have gone to the ebooks, but I just was wondering why.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, is there any additional new business other than discussing the possibility of remaining fee-free? So I guess we'll table that for next time after we've had a chance to do some research. Does anyone have anything else they would like to discuss? motion to adjourn?
I'll make motion to return.
Thank you, Carl. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kevin. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Good night.
More and more.
Good night.
And